Hello, 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 hello. Was that too loud? I just got back from the dentist. Look how clean my teeth are. Look, these were professionally cleaned by my dentist. Look, they're clean now. And now I'm going to ruin it by having an instant coffee. One person in the live stream expressed how much they loved coffee time, so this is for them. I just wanted to show off my gnashes. Look at my gnashes. Look how clean they are. He said to me in the chair, he said, so, God, it's been a long time since you had them cleaned. When was it? I said, Tony Blair was just coming into power. And that was the last time. But, I take very good care. Anyway, what should we do news? Should we do news? Anyone want to do the news? Who wants to do the news? You want some news? I haven't been talking about it, but Boris, poor old Boris, our fluffy-haired leader, Boris, Bojo, how many kids have I got? Johnson is in the news because 2 years ago, Boris decided to have a little drink in the back garden of his house with his missus and baby. Oh my God. And suddenly he's got to step down, apparently, because he had some wine with his missus and baby in the back garden. Apparently he was breaking rules. Look, all of it is a load of bollocks. All of it. How many bars that we subsidise bars where you get booze and food are in the Houses of Parliament? Many. That's how the answer is. There are many. 3 or 4, I think there are, bars in Parliament where they get booze and food that are subsidised by the British taxpayer. Just hold that thought. How many meetings and discussions and, tete-a-tetes are held in those bars? Many, I would imagine. Oh, we've got to stamp out this drinking culture from our politics, they say. OK, well, can we start by closing all the free bars in the Houses of Parliament? Can we do that first? Let's start that first, eh? Look, you make me defend Boris Johnson. Stop it. Stop it, you morons. I don't want to defend him. He's an idiot. Boris only cares about himself. But it's the law of diminishing returns. You didn't like Theresa May, so you forced her out, and now you got Boris. And if you force him out, you might get Matt Hancock as your Prime Minister. Just saying, think about that. Law of diminishing returns. But the big controversy is because him and a number of people from Number 10 were seen, photographed, out in the back garden of Number 10, enjoying the summer air with some wine in socially distanced groups. But this is a big thing. There were a number of parties at Number 10. It's all bullshit, all of it. Every single bit of it. People were dying. People were dying. Yeah, it's a great shame that people died with COVID. Great shame, that. But guess what? People die all the time. Should we just stop living? My point being is, firstly, Number 10 is actually a private residence because Boris lives there. He lives there with his missus and his kids and dog. Right? It's also a working house. People work there too. And that staff he was with would have been with him in that house all day. So it would have been okay for them all to be together inside working, right? But not okay for them to, at the end of the day, say, well done, we're going through a really tough time at the moment with this COVID. Let's all go and enjoy the sunshine with a glass of wine and kick our shoes off and take a minute. Let's talk business outside. That's unacceptable because of the rules. You've got to remember, an awful lot of the British public were breaking the rules too, but they didn't get caught. Saw it happen. Saw it happen around here. But did I get on the phone and report those people? No, because this is the snitch mentality we've got now. Everyone's a bloody grass and a snitch, and that's great if you're grassing up and snitching on people who are doing serious crimes. But I'm sorry, you make me defend Boris Johnson again. Just stop it, stupid people. Just stop it. I know you don't like him. I don't like him too. But ask yourself, what's coming next? Do you think you're going to get Keir Starmer marching into number 10 and immediately we're all back in the EU again. You think that's going to happen? No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. None of it's going to happen. So that's the main news story. And they're going on about today. They call it the Operation Pork Pie. We've had Operation Big Dog. Yes. Because he does look like a big dog, old Boris, doesn't he? Boris. Come here, boy. Come here, boys. Get off the furniture, Boris. Yeah, he calls himself Big Dog. Or someone calls him Big Dog. It was Operation Big Dog was to save Boris Johnson. Well, that's over. We've got Operation Pork Pie now. Because apparently a number of Conservative backbenchers, people that got in the 2019 elections, are up in arms because they think that Boris, is doing a bad thing, and they're going to get rid of him. They're going to be like Brutus, and they're going to get him out. They're going to, I think they've got to get. Is it 50? Is it 50 letters of no confidence before there'll be a vote of no confidence, and he'll be out. So they've got to get 50 odd letters because they reckon his apology isn't good enough. I just don't know what to say. The only way you're going to get Boris out is if they drag him out by his ankles, kicking and screaming. Meanwhile, what I love about this is there are two other stories that are a damn sight more important than Boris having some wine in his back garden on a fine spring afternoon. Oh, and that's without the other parties. Again, some of the other parties are actually leaving parties for people who are going. Now, the thing is, Gwen, when I was in gainful employment all those years ago, I can't remember how many times we went to the pub to discuss work, It happens. I can't remember how many times we had a bottle of wine in the afternoon as a thank you, and a bit of cake if there was a birthday. You know what I'm saying? It happens in the world of work. And this bloody hypocrisy we're seeing. You make me defend Boris Johnson. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night sweating, thinking, am I a Conservative now? Am I a Tory? Keir Starmer, he has beer indoors with some people. That's fine, because it's Keir Starmer. Just see, it's the hypocrisy of it all. It's got to be all the same. Look, clean teeth, look. Clean teeth. But there are two other stories I'm going to talk about. These are pretty serious. The other one is what's happening on the Ukraine border, because old Vlad Putin, our friend in Russia, is lining up an awful lot of military force on the Ukrainian border. Again, it could just be flexing his Russian muscles because he likes doing that. But Ukraine poor old Vlad, he's sitting in Russia watching as the EU to him is like a cancer taking over Europe, and its influence is bigger than Russia's influence, and he doesn't like that, and rightly so. It's on his border. He sees it as a domestic threat, and this is why he sees Ukraine as it's almost like a pawn piece in the game of chess. Will he take it? And so we've actually sent some of our fine British soldiers over there to, I don't know, look at the border. I can imagine. Apparently, there's 100,000 strong gathering of military might. It's a bit concerning, but it could just be flexing his muscles. He likes to flex his muscles, but that's what we should be concerned with, not Boris Johnson. No, not Boris Johnson. And the other question is the fuel crisis that's happening. What fuel crisis? It's the cost of fuel, and this goes down again. Dear Vlad has got a hand in this, because do you remember when there was the Fukushima nuclear plant was breached because there was an earthquake, and that caused France and Germany to drastically reconsider their use of nuclear power, and so they started to rely more on gas. Wait a minute, aren't we supposed to be not using as many carbon fuels? But anyway, nuclear power bad. nuclear bad, carbon good. No, it's the other way round. And so we're looking at this fuel crisis because old Vlad contains, he controls the main pipeline now that's coming into Europe. And because again, a lot of our electricity is generated by gas-powered power stations, gas-fueled power stations instead of nuclear. We need more nuclear power and more solar and more wind. And so because of this, domestic energy bills in the UK are looking to skyrocket. I mean, just for us, we've had a projected bill. Now, normally, I think I've talked about this before, I put 150 quid a month away, which I think is a lot of money, but that I don't spend that every month. It goes into a big pot, and sometimes I use that money for like Christmas and birthday presents. I use it like a savings account. But we pay roughly about £110 a month. I had an estimate for a new contract, and they wanted us to pay £240 a month. And it's like, wow, it's nearly £150 more, because it won't be that. It will probably be more than that. It could be less. That's how volatile the industry is. So, for us, it's a really serious thing. It's really serious, really serious. It's money that we cannot afford, and I don't know what to do. Something could, but we're just one of many people. I know, burn all the guitars. We can keep warm by burning the guitars. But there's going to be a lot of people in the country that are facing the same problem, even worse. And really, instead of worrying about Boris Johnson and the party that happened nearly 2 years ago, we should actually be talking about this and how we've become slave to Russia and Europe, because again, EDF bought up a lot of our infrastructure, and we pay more money, and a lot of that money ends up subsidising French power consumption. Thanks, Thatcher. Thank you. Thanks for selling off all the utilities. Yeah. So that was that. Let's have some fun. I've got to find the story now, because I can tell you the story off the top of my head. Here we go. Got it. We're going to end with a good one, because we've had miserable. This is the story of an American fellow. Whoa. He was having a bit of trouble in the bedroom. It happens to all of us, especially if you have diabetes. Diabetes is a big cause of erectile dysfunction. So don't worry if you are diabetic, and that's a thing. It's all part of the illness. It affects all manner of parts of you. So, but yeah, this fellow, he was. It is so bonkers. I can't even. I told the missus about this. He was having trouble getting it up. So him and his missus come up with the great idea of using expandable foam. The stuff they use with insulation. Expanding foam. You get it with cavity wall. You get it in DIY. And what they did is I can't even imagine how they did it, but they used this expanded foam. They must have put oh God. I can't even say, it's so stupid. They put the foam nozzle into his urethra, and they sprayed the foam accidentally. So using the straw that you get in the can of an insulate, none of it makes sense. And they sprayed expanding foam into his urethra. And they did a CT scan. You can see it here. Here's the CT scan of the foam. The black stuff there is the foam. And if we scroll down, this is what they dragged out of him. It went into his penis, into his urethra, and into his bladder. And some of it was 10 centimetres in length and 4.5 centimetres in width. Look, here's some more. It's more. Look at that. And surgeons had to cut a new hole so he could urinate out of between his scrotum and his rectum. So now he's a lady. He's now a lady. He has to wee sitting down. Now, again, being a diabetic, I use 2 lolly sticks and some gaffer tape. Works for me, folks. Works for me. You don't hear the missus complaining. That's because I hold the pillow over her face. Yeah. I don't know what to say. This is why I don't do coffee. This is probably going to get demonetised now. I can't help it. Shall we see who's in the chat? Is anyone in the chat? Alex is in. He says, all right. Simon's in as well. He says, morning. Alex is Boris. He will go down as the most inept, corrupt PM ever. Oh, well, come on. At least you know what to expect. I don't understand why people are upset by this, because we've got the Prime Minister. He's completely transparent. You know what you're getting with him. He is the perfect Prime Minister, because, he's not like Tony Blair. What gets me, right, is they say, Boris, he killed all those people with his COVID. He's also saved a lot of people with his vaccine strategy. But again, we all have to take a little bit of, self-responsibility. A lot of people acted irresponsible with the pandemic and ignored warnings. As soon as we heard about this, we avoid people anyway because they're smelly and got germs. Everybody knows that. But they say he killed all these people. But Tony Blair, how many people did Tony Blair kill with his war? And the reason Blair's worse is we trusted him. We trusted Tony Blair, and that's what makes his fall from grace even worse. Whereas nobody trusts Boris Johnson. They go, oh, it's Boris, fluffy-haired Johnson. We know we know what he is, but that's good. He's the first Prime Minister and Politico who's completely transparent. We know he's a complete useless doofus. We know that, and that's fine. That's fine. There's no disappointments to be had. Andrew's in. He said, good morning. You? Well, I've just been to the dentist. Need more coffee, indeed. Get a box of Viagra. Oh, dear. Does that work? I don't know. Problem with Viagra is I put it in my shoe and it made me limp. Sounds horrendous, indeed. And John is in and Alex Johnston's in too. Art says, morning, time for coffee. Yeah. Well, it's my first one, so. But anyway, thanks for joining me. I just did it for the guy that said he liked coffee time, and I just got in. I just want to show for new gnashes. Look, no, that's not herpes. That was a spot. Typical, spot came up. Going to the dentist, spot came up. I'm thinking, he's going to think that's herpes. Yeah, I think that's herpes. It's not. It's just a yellowhead. It's just horrible. Boris looks like Trump's twin, says Boyd. Not really. Boris has had the same haircut since he's been 10 years old. Go and look at old pictures of Boris. He's always looked the same. I don't think he's a malevolent force. I think he's completely benign. I think he's only interested in himself. He fell in love with the idea at a very early age of being Prime Minister, and that's what's driven him. And at the moment, the only person who has a similar drive is Matt Hancock. And that's why I say we ought to keep Boris in until he gets voted out. Vote him out at the next election. Keep him in, where we can see him, where we know what he's up to, Because you don't want Matt Hancock in power. Because I can't see any other Tory stepping up. Maybe Michael Gove. I don't know. But I can't see anyone wanting to step up in a post-pandemic economy. Because, again, inflation's going up. They've got to deal with all that. Again, also the ramifications of the pandemic. There's going to be a lot of people sitting there going, I don't want that job. And when that happens, the guy that really wants it usually gets it. The same way Theresa May won it, because Ledson, fell at withdrew her candidacy, and May won. She became Prime Minister without actually winning, because no one actually voted her to be. She didn't win the final vote. She won by default, because the other competitor withdrew because she said something about Theresa May being childless. So you've got to really be careful. got to be really careful what you wish for, because you might not get it. You might get something even worse, So that's the way I look at it. My Roxy music albums, Andrew. We can't talk business here. How uncouth. Talk business on the internet here. I don't know. Money. He loves himself a lot indeed. Rishi, you think Rishi could do it? I don't think Rishi wants it. I think Rishi's like, oh man, I got the, because again, if Rishi does it, he's not going to be Chancellor of the Exchequer anymore. And who we're going to get? It's. I wouldn't mind him doing it. I don't have a problem with him taking over, but it's whether or not anyone wants to deal with a post-pandemic England. That's the issue. And there's going to be a lot of nervous people looking at each other around the room going, we've got the idiot right where we want him. He's the fool guy. So that's that. But I don't, again, it doesn't matter who you vote for. Government always gets in, right? I've learnt that. 30 odd years of disappointment, of voting and seeing nothing really changing, just things just staying the same. Getting rid of free university education for the poor. Thanks, Tony. I would never have voted for you if I'd have known. Even I got suckered in by the Iraq War dodgy dossier at the beginning, and it's only when it all came out you go, oh, for fuck's sake, I've been played like a fool. That's what really put me off of these people, And then Gordon Brown doing the get me away from that bigot, because you can't ask a question, you can't air your concerns without being labelled a racist or or whatever, because the people in the streets see the way society's changing, and have concerns. And we've just got to suck it up. Just got to suck up the change. People don't mind change if it's gradual, but when it's really fast and you see things, springing up around you, that's where it gets a little bit alarming, especially for the old, elderly people. And you've got to understand that, But everyone's got, oh God, put my fingers in my ears, and look how it worked out for Gordon Brown. But yeah, politicians, they're all arseholes. Remember that. People's Parliament. If I get into power, when I lead the revolution, I will elect myself dictator. Your friendly Spider-Man dictator. I'll be a good dictator. Yeah. But I'll just be a big thing, big guitars, wouldn't it? That's what you bribed me with. He's got a new guitar. I've obviously took the bribe because money's no interest to me. I don't have any interest in money other than paying the bills. But no, I wouldn't have to worry about paying the bills because I'd be a big dictator. I wouldn't have to pay any bills, would I? I wouldn't need any money because I'd have power, absolute power. God, imagine that. People's Parliament, that's what we need. We need less politicians and more people deciding things, and then we can shape the world in the vision that we want. And I tell you, it would be more peaceful. You wouldn't have people, voting to invade, and people would go, no, let's not invade. But they'd vote to defend, and oh well. That's that. That's politics for you. Hey. Alex says you don't get exploding willies on news at 10. No, I try and give you the best news. I try and get demonetized as often as possible, thanks to the YouTube algorithm. I wonder why I don't get any views on this channel. Rishi. We need a modern day Wat Tyler indeed. Get Mog to do it. You don't want Reese Mog. And Naz got his copy of 200 Motels today. Good for you. You vote for Darren. Don't vote for me. Free headphones. Yeah. Free insulating foam. Free expanding foam for every man. Yeah, don't vote for me because I'll just take power by force and guile. But no, we need less. This is one of the reasons why I voted away from the EU. Because, I think these political structures can be incredibly dangerous and blind to what people want and need. And the more politicos you get, the more self-serving they are, and the more insulated they get from reality. And this is what we see, and that's the great shame with the way politics has gone. Again, I wouldn't say I'm a great, say, Brexiteer. I'm not a great Brexiteer. I think, on paper, I think the EU's a good idea. But one, I didn't like the way John Major executed it back in 1992. I think we should have been asked about it, like you do, about the whole Maastricht Treaty. We should have been given an option. And I didn't like the way it turned into a complete political force. I don't think it's right. I don't think you should be getting involved. Because, again, a lot of these decisions are made out of sight where we don't see them. Because we don't have a rolling News 24 style channel detailing the workings of the European Union, Parliament building. We don't get that over here. I don't know if you get it in Europe. But if we had that and we were more in touch, I think people would be more politically motivated to see what was going on. And that's why, I'm like, no, I don't want to be involved in that. Again, if they do have another referendum in my lifetime and it goes the other way, I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to show off. I'm just going to accept it because that's it. Because I'm a fucking adult. I'm not Peter Hamill or Marillion or, all those other musicians out there who pissed the bed over all of this. They couldn't be adult about it, And, that's what makes me different from them. I'm an adult. They're not. They're all children, and that's where we're at. But anyway, I've gone on enough. I've alienated enough of my viewership already. And, I'm off now to see if I can go and get it up. So thanks for watching. There's only one more thing left to say, and that is drink it up, and who knows, maybe we'll do this again. I don't know. Got to be motivated. I need to be motivated. Ta-ta.